welcome back to another episode on my channel. I am Bex and I am a coach who helps women with their mindset, behaviour change and losing weight and just removing the whole all or nothing thinking and feeling like you're constantly in the wrong and like you're doing something wrong and just constantly going back and forth over the same, mistakes that we all make when we're dieting, especially when we followed like rules and diet culture for years. And my role is to help you change that. And it actually leads me on to this episode. And excuse me, I am in my bedroom because it's half term and the boys are at home. So I've had to escape upstairs. But I've been thinking about something that seems to keep a lot of us who are really trying hard and constantly showing up and, we're constantly like doing well in work, our careers are going the way we want them to, but there's always like these little things when it comes to losing weight or just having a healthier lifestyle that sometimes keep us stuck. And we're really trying to change and we are working hard on ourselves, but you're reading the books, you're listening to the podcast, you're setting intentions, we're doing the stuff, right? But sometimes it just doesn't shift and it's a bit like, what is going on here? So here's what I want to share with you. And it's something that I figured out for myself. And it's kind of like a missing piece of the puzzle, especially when we're talking about like behavior change, which is my favorite thing in the world to talk about. It's literally like, we're all being told like we need to be really consistent with stuff. And yes, we do. But behavior change is actually the result of being inconsistent. So listen, stay with me. So it's like being inconsistent means like breaking the pattern that you have been very consistent in. And we need to break that by being inconsistent with your current behaviours and habits or the things that are kind of like tripping you up. And I know that sounds really like, what the hell is she on about? But it makes sense when you zoom out a little bit and have a think. And it's kind of like, think about it like this. Like if you keep doing exactly what you've always done, you are going to keep getting the exact same result, right? Because that's logic. So what I started to do and what I encourage my girls to think about doing is we call it like our Brave Inconsistency List. And basically it's just me tracking the moments where I do something different to my usual routine, where I break my own little pattern somewhere, where I feel that little bit of, ooh, this feels a little bit uncomfortable. This feels a little bit challenging. This feels slightly not comfortable. So uncomfortable, obviously, that's the word I was looking for. Because you're doing something different. So it brings up those feelings. And if you haven't felt like that today or over the last, 48, 72 hours, and you're not seeing any change, then this could be what's tripping you up. So like I said, you're looking to feel uncomfortable, a little bit challenged, a little bit like when you're engaging in behaviours and actions that are meant to be making you progress. So let me give you some examples. So like for this morning, instead of just jumping straight into my work mode and sitting at a laptop for a lot of the time of the day, I decided I was going to get up and go and walk on my treadmill while I did my social media networking. So that small decision made me feel a bit uncomfortable because it's not what I usually do. But it's also going to help me make my step goal happen today. Another example, the night before last, I left my phone upstairs 30 minutes earlier than I usually do. And I went and did some colouring in downstairs in the front room. And because I did that, when the kids eventually came into the front room and wanted to chat and engage and talk, I was actually way more present. And it actually helped me be there and talk to them and give them my full attention. So again, it was something different to what I've done previously. And it does feel awkward leaving my phone upstairs because I want to keep my phone with me. But I was like, no, this actually needs to change. And I'm on my phone too much in the evenings anyway, and I'm not present and it's annoying me. So the hard thing was to leave my phone upstairs and not have it near me. But by doing that and then shutting off a little bit by engaging in a bit of downtime, it also enabled me to be way more present with the kids. Another example that I full transparency, my eating has been a little bit crap recently. I haven't been putting my attention into having as much protein as I want to be having. I've let things slip because I've been stressed and I've been overwhelmed with things and I've been overthinking a lot of stuff. And, it's led to me having massive energy dips and feeling a bit shit in the day, and grabbing things that I know aren't going to benefit me. So today I made the decision I was going to make sure I had protein at every single meal. And what I noticed was that I felt better, my energy levels hadn't dipped, and I was less picking and snacking at food. But it felt really uncomfortable to do. I didn't want to do it. I felt a little bit of a challenge because, look, I'm a nutrition coach and I don't particularly love protein, but I know how important it is for me. So it felt very like, I've got to go and blink and make myself eat this yogurt pot in the morning, and I don't want to be eating it really. I want to just have my toast. But I know that I had to do it to benefit myself in the long run. So again, it felt uncomfortable, but I had to break that pattern and give myself those little cues that, this is great because I'm being inconsistent with the little things that that I've been very too consistent in for too long, that has then become like, oh, well, this feels like normal to me. So, and I always like, I'm doing these very naturally as well. I'm not like overthinking what I'm saying. So hence why there's this little bit of waffle in the middle here. And I appreciate you if you're still here. And what I've really started to do over the last few years, because this has been something that I've been working on in myself for a long time, and I always ask myself, and I put this to the girls that I coach, and I'm always like asking them, right, what would your current self choose right now? And what would my future self choose right now? And then usually I will always go with, okay, I kind of need to do with what my future self is going to do. Even though it feels way more scarier, it's more uncomfortable, it's intimidating, but it's kind of like, it feels hard, but by asking myself those two questions, it's kind of like makes it easier for my brain to get its head around it and then get myself to do it. So like, take those questions for yourself and ask yourself those two things, like what would my future option usually do, and what would my now present self, who I know some other people would edit this, but I'm actually going to leave it in. So like I said, go back to what I said then. When I'm faced with a difficult choice, I will ask myself, what would my current self choose here? And what would my future self choose here? And then, like I said, it's always going to be the more scary option to choose the more uncomfortable one, what your future self would do. But it's a great way to get your mind around, okay, I've asked myself this question. I know I want to do what my future self is going to tell me to do. So I'm going to go with that slightly more difficult option. And that's the whole point, right? And if I think back to, I suppose, over the last, maybe 5 years that I've really got into this, definitely over the last 3, it's helped me actually become the woman that I am now, because of all of those little inconsistent moments that I've bravely chosen to do. And I would really, really, really love you to take on this Brave Inconsistency List. Do your own one of it, and let's see what you can come up with, and just think about doing one thing differently today. Whatever it is, like take a different route round the supermarket, walk a little bit further away, even if it's like speaking up when you wouldn't normally do, like putting your phone away and like having some downtime and reading a book that maybe you've wanted to read and you haven't done. Like break these patterns of the consistency that you've built up so that you can start to make yourself feel differently and choose the harder option and get those behavior change things happening. Because confidence doesn't come from doing the same safe thing over and over and over again. It comes from proving to yourself that you can do things differently, that you're not stuck, that you have these choices in front of you. You've just got to do it differently. And like I said, do the smallest things. Start small, and then you can add to it once those things have become your new routine. Because every small inconsistent choice will build what is called your self-efficacy, which is basically your belief in your ability to create change. And that is what I want for you. And it's also how you become the woman you've been dreaming of being, especially when it comes to like weight loss. So yeah, go be bravely inconsistent today. And I would love to hear what you choose and share with me. And also it would be really helpful if you like this, that you would like and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, because otherwise no one's going to see it, and I would really appreciate the love. So yeah, I'll leave that there, and until next time, bye.